All right, we're getting into roster rumors and official changes that are happening within the off season, right? Obviously, it's kind of an off season because there are some teams that are actually playing events or are going to play events very soon, like XE Pro League and currently Super Draculan, which Legion got eliminated last place. Looks like they just wanted to go on vacation or something because they played awfully at this tournament. However, we're going to get into it. I'm probably going to talk about the most interesting ones to me personally first, and the most interesting one to me right now is Note. So Note, if you don't know, he was an academy player on NIP. He was he was dropping some pretty crazy numbers, right? This is his numbers across 2026. They haven't really faced any good opposition, from what I understand. But Note is from Belgium. He's 20 years old. Um, he's kind of a closer anchor player. He plays like some star positions on T and CT side. He plays some anchor spots on CT side as well, and some lurk positions, right? I would classify him as a closer, but he's really exciting. I've watched quite a few of his demos. I've watched like at least 5 series worth of him across like the last 2 months, right? Whenever he was playing, he hasn't played in like about a month or so because of the major. But I'm very excited for this player. I don't know if he's going to be a permanent replacement. He's been farming in tier 3 essentially, but I don't know if he's going to be a permanent replacement to Karen. I think Karen was he wasn't underutilized. He just didn't play the way he was playing in Prax. Apparently in Prax he was a god. That was the rumor I heard, was that Karen in Prax was like Jacob in Prax. But no, he was really good in Prax, but it didn't translate to the official games, right? He wasn't making the same moves that Snappy needed. So they're bringing in Note as a temporary replacement. I hope he puts up a good showing here because I actually rate him. When I watched his demos, very good at flicking. Like, he has some insane flick ability to consistently find headshots, consistent first bullet, great spray. His movement is super good in fights, right? He likes the AD strafe a lot and tap crouch and crouch slide when taking fights. So I have a lot of faith in Note. They're playing at XE Pro League, which is their next tournament. So hopefully he can actually deliver there. Getting into the second, this is a rumor, right? This is a source. Luminosity are re-entering Counter-Strike by buying the Monty Core, but they're not buying Gizme. Gizme is going to apparently 100 Thieves, or 100 Thieves are considering Gizme. I think this is not a bad idea, but I think you are buying some of the weakest pieces. Bemis and Azuo are their weakest pieces. Afro is pretty decent. He's been their star player, but he's a fair bit older. He's 27. And Rainwaker might join them in Luminosity, right? And apparently Lux is supposed to be IGLing the roster. I don't mind this as a move, but the problem I have with it is that it depends on if Azulu and Bemis kind of get up to form, and so far they haven't. Azulu at the major did live up to expectation, or did overperformed expectations considering what he was doing for the rest of the year. He had like a 0.9, 0.86 for most of the year, right? And then super overperformed at the major. Maybe the pressure was off of him. Maybe he just felt like, I've played shit the entire season, so let me at least show something, which is, that's good. But Bemis, he was the most experienced player because he's actually played at a major before. I think he played in Stockholm, underperformed. He's been underperforming kind of this entire season, which sucks because in 2025 on Monty, he was actually rather good, right? I think he was their second best player on Monty with Ryu, the Lithuanian duo. Was actually pretty good, right? They were both more of the late round pieces, more of the trade fraggers on T side, and they managed to put up decent numbers in tier two. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if this is a good decision for Luminosity because I think you are buying some of the weakest pieces, especially if you don't get Rainwaker. And I don't know how good Lux is going to be as a caller. Lux, considering Legacy look better without Lux, like it might be a bad idea, but we'll see. But 100 Thieves are eyeing Gizme. Apparently, Rain is going to stay on the roster, and he's probably going to replace a Gil realistically because I think Syrah and Poi have actually lived up to their expectations, especially Poi. I think Poi is a very legit player, probably could go to better teams, to be honest. Device has actually refound his form, which I'm kind of surprised because I was actually calling for Device's head when he got to 100 Thieves because he was really bad. Like, he was super passive, had no impact within the rounds when he had the op. Um, But apparently 100 Thieves are looking to buy Gizmy as their IGL because Rain either isn't able to do it or just can't play the, can't call on the way they thought he could, right? So they might be getting Gizmy. I think Gizmy is super good. I've said he should go to better teams. Like I was considering G2, Liquid maybe even, but I think on Liquid he would have a harder time because they're more experienced players. They have to buy into a system. I don't think that's going to happen. They also don't particularly have a strong coach in Flashy. I don't rate Flashy, not to mention Liquid have another IGL who's more tenured and has played with their players. So, but I like Gizmy getting a chance to potentially a better team. I think it actually has better players on 100 Thieves, right? When I look across the board, Device, obviously one of the greatest players of all time. Reigns, super experienced and tenured. Poi and Sierra, two of the most exciting prospects out of Tier 2. When they were announced it as a 100 Thieves roster, I think Poi has lived up to it mostly. Sierra has had moments, but also some, rather concerning dips, I would say. Sometimes he goes missing, not all the time. He's still good. You watch him mechanically, you watch his demos, still has it. He's just a little more up or down compared to Poi, even though Poi does sometimes go missing as well. But Poi just has such insane highs that you kind of have to let him be. So I think that's a good call for 100 Thieves. I wouldn't mind if I saw Gizmy go there because I think that team could be a top 15 team with Gizmy there, pretty convincingly. Moving to the next thing is Liquid target JT as an IGL. Apparently, they're also in talks to get TC, which is his coaching duo, right? TC and JT are kind of a package deal for the most part. Um, uh, People have already mentioned that they've seen JT and Elige play Face It together for the past like week or so. So this roster rumor has been in the works for a while, or roster change has been in the works for a bit. I think JT going to Liquid is actually a good thing. I think JT deserves a call up. I think on Passion UA, I think the roster was too weird. I think it was too weird of a blend of players. It was like a completely international lineup with almost no coexisting like players with any synergy. Like you're taking a player from Mongolia, Argentina, NA, Ukraine, and South Africa. Like it's just a weird blend, and I don't think that was ever gonna work. Um, Elige has been quite disappointing on Liquid, but if you remember back to 2024, Elige was a top 20 player. In my opinion, he should have been higher than 19. I think he was way better than 19th best player in the world. He was like a top 5 rifler. He was that good this year. He sadly was just on a bad team that couldn't get him results, but he was an unbelievable entry fragger this year. So, and I don't think Elige is lacking motivation. I think that's the one thing that a lot of people are acting like Elige is now just a bum and he's always been a bum. But I feel like people don't actually remember back to. I understand because like fans who come into the game, they see Elige and they're like, "What do you mean he's this all-time great player? He's playing bad." But it's like if you remember back to 2019, 2018, 2017, even 2024 on Cole and 2025 FaZe for the first season, he was really good still. He just wasn't complexity Elige, right? People act like he's this like bum and he's not this all-time great player, but he's like one of the greatest players to never win a major, right? That's like I genuinely mean that. Like this guy is all-time maybe better than Twist. It's debatable, right? Twist has the accolades, but individual performance-wise, I think he's been better than Twist. He's been the main carry on most of the on the Liquid 2019 Grand Slam winning roster. He was the main carry. He was the guy winning the MVPs and winning Cologne and all these things, right? So I feel like I have faith in this roster if they get JT. I also think they should get TC. I don't think Flashy is ready to be a coach. I don't think he's ready to manage Liquid at all. But apparently they're in talks to get TC. Apparently none of the parties have necessarily completely agreed on the move, so we'll have to see. But I hope they get TC and JT because they're kind of a package duo. They've been together forever. The next one is BC Game officially signed Senzu. I'm not going to say it's career suicide for Senzu because it depends on who they get in the roster. If I'm BC Game, I would try my hand at Gizmy because he's young and he might want to play with Simple and might want to play with Senzu. The problem is, I don't know if Gizmy can rein those guys in. Simple very clearly still has the talent to be a top player. Electronic has had a recent uptick in performance, but he's also had some really bad moments. Remembering Mirage window jump against Vitality where they lost a full eco because of him. Holy shit, that was a bad round. But Senzu's a good pickup for them. It feels kind of bad for Senzu because Senzu is so young in his career, and sadly, he's going to be on a roster that can't really do anything for a while, which kind of sucks. But I mean, that's just how it is, right? Some players want to play. Maybe he wanted to play here. Maybe he would just be sat on the Mongols bench. Apparently, Mongols don't want to give him another chance for whatever reason. So honestly, I'm fine with him going to BC game. It kind of feels bad for him because I feel like he is a player that is top 20 level talent caliber, right? Player. He is that good. But the sad part is just like he's going to be on BC game. It depends on who they get. If they get a good anchor and a good IGL, they could do well. Maybe Gizmy and Rainwaker if they want to throw their hat in the ring for those players. I don't think Rainwaker's Bulgarian, so I don't think he'll struggle with like kind of like the harsh like atmosphere that Simple and Electronic bring. Gizmy, I'm less unsure. I'm like less knowledgeable about, so it depends. But it feels bad for Senzu, but I think it's a good signing for BC game. Gentlemates are apparently in negotiations to sell the roster, and the reason I'm mentioning this is partially because sadly this core under Iberian Soul, like they've missed two majors now. They missed Budapest and they missed um, Cologne, right? They were close both times, but they just narrowly missed the window both times. But the thing that I want to talk about is Martinezsa is rumored to be FaZe are interested in Martinezsa. Martinezsa, I made the Martinezsa to FaZe comment like I don't know 5 months ago for Brokey. I made that comment like they should get Martinezsa because Martinezsa, if you don't know, has actually been kind of putting up numbers in tier two for a while, right? He's been their best player by far. He puts up crazy numbers on CT side, right? 0.85 KPR. He plays like an actual carry, high multi kill stats, right? Takes a lot of openers, ops a bunch, right? So I said Martinez out of FaZe months ago, and some people thought it was crazy, right? Some people were like, why would they pick up Martinezsa? Martinezsa has also not done well in international rosters in the past, right? When he was on 9Z, even though it was fully Spanish speaking, for some reason it didn't click there. But on Gentlemates, for some reason he just gets better. But I think Martinezsa does deserve a chance at actually a decent team. I think FaZe are a decent team if they keep Frozen and Twist. Frozen might not be moving during the next or during this offseason, which kind of sucks for Navi because I think Navi are going to need Frozen. But if he doesn't move, you pick up Martinez up. Apparently, Brokey might be rifling. That's a rumor. I don't know how serious it is, but I think Martinez is a good pickup for FaZe. I think he is a player who is very clearly above the level of tier two. He has a lot of experience. He's better than Brokey right now with the op 100%. That's not even a debate. Um, so I think it's a good pickup, especially since you don't have much money and Gentlemates are apparently selling the roster. So I would try it. I would say it's a good gamble. The other one is Aurora is apparently going to, or Kixon is going to Aurora. Apparently that because I mentioned this before that Aurora are probably going international just based off Woxic's reaction, right? If you didn't see, Woxic was crying after they lost the semifinals match to Furia. Woxic, for the most part, has never been that emotional, right? He's a bit of a hype man for the team, but he's not. He's not a massively like. He's not a guy that typically cries in public, from what I've seen, and it looked like it really hurt him because I think he knew this was his last run with the boys, right? I think he's going to be making changes. I'm pretty sure some of the comments he's even said even allude to the fact that he's probably not going to be in Aurora. So I think Kixon's a great pickup for Aurora, especially if you want to go international. But the problem becomes who do you pick up as an opper? If you get Molodoy, it's a great change. If you don't, in my opinion, you should have stuck with the Turkish roster. Because I think the Turkish roster was actually improving. Soulfly and Wicadia were allowed to lurk more. They were mid-rounding more effectively because they were allowed to lurk more. Wicadia has been unbelievable this year. Like this has been Wicadia is the future of Turkish CS, right? This guy will have a great career, in my opinion, especially if he starts going to international rosters or international rosters start coming to him, right? Zontaris can still frag. He's 30, but he can still frag. He's still an unbelievable opener. Yes, he chokes, but if he can, he will get you into playoffs, right? He will get you in the playoffs. He'll choke in the playoffs, but he'll get you in the playoffs at least. And Soulfly is still a super overqualified role player. Could probably play the opener positions when Zontaris decides to retire, right? So if they get a decent offer, I think kicks into Aurora is a great idea. If they don't, not a good idea, right? If they get Molodoi, it's amazing. If they don't, you should have kept the Turkish roster, in my opinion. So we'll see. 3D Max bench Exorcise. This was kind of coming for a while. If you don't know, Exorcise has been rather disappointing for a while. However, he is not even the worst player on this roster. The worst player is Gravity by far. It's not even fucking close. I'm so tired of this guy getting away from the scapegoat. Like he needs to, like they're scapegoating another player and keeping Gravity. And I'm sorry, but Gravity plays better positions and doesn't put up numbers. I don't give a shit if he's entry fragging. He's literally being set up to entry frag. But whatever. Yeah, but they scapegoat Exorcist again, and then they sign Kersey. Kersey, who was on Gamer Legion as an opper. I wasn't sold on Kersey, right? When he first got into Gamer Legion, I watched one of his demos, but he was against like fucking Bad News Eagles, and it wasn't a particularly good demo. When I watched it, I was like, okay, he can op, but like they're also not flashing him off lines. He's a decent rifler based off what I've seen. I don't rate his opping, but the question is, what positions is he going to play? If he's playing anchor positions, I hate this. If he's not, it's better. Are you going to get Netu to replace Gravity, which essentially replaces Exorcist? Then it's maybe okay, but then you don't really have an aggressive piece unless you're using Netu as that brute force opener. I don't know. It's kind of a weird situation. 3D Max really only have like two decent player or one good player, one decent player, and Masuda and Lucky. But I don't know. I'm out on 3D Max. I think this roster is like fucking cooked. Like they've ruined this roster when they kicked Body instead of Gravity, which whatever. They decided to do that. Crims joins Eyeballers. I think this is a good move for Crims. If you don't know, Fnatic are rumored to get Maze. Apparently, they were practicing with Maze or Mazay. If you don't know who he is, he's like this young kid from Spirit Academy. He's Ukrainian, right? I haven't watched any of his demos, but I've heard some good things. Apparently, he does look rather good in the demos from some people who do scout like tier 2 prospects and things like this. So I think Crim's going to Eyeballers is a good move. He's replacing Bob XD, which is not a straight one for one, right? Bob XD went to Alliance. Crims is not a straight 1-to-1. Crims is an anchor support player. Bob XD is a hard opener star player, right? So you're in a bit of a weird spot with this move. I don't think Crims. I think Crim should be allowed to play because I still think he individually has it, right? He's not completely useless. I think he still has some decent individual level as an anchor player. Depends who are you putting in the star positions then? Are you putting Dex in the star positions or Maxter? It's a big question mark, or Wolf even. I don't know who the fuck you're putting in the positions he needs to, right? Is the problem. So we'll see, but I think Crim's going to Eyeballers is good for the roster. More experience, more of these things. And then G2 seek loan offers for TAC, so they're also seeking loan offers for Klim, but now they're also doing it for TAC. If you don't know who TAC is, TAC played for G2 in Rio on a stand-in when Hunter broke his leg, right? Hunter couldn't go to Rio because he broke his leg. So TAC stood in. TAC didn't do particularly well at that tournament. He did okay considering he was like an academy prospect, right? He's 21 years old. He's a bit older, but he's been dropping numbers in tier 3 for a while. I actually rate this G2 Ares roster a bit. I like Shine as a caller. I think Shine as a caller is pretty good. I think Hattori is talented as well. He's from Uzbekistan, which is like, how many Uzbek players have you actually seen besides Sanji? It's like none, which is kind of just interesting. But I like Hattori as well. But Tak is the clear star of this roster. On T side, he's allowed to play make a lot. He's left alive and like, he's allowed to like space take, but then he like is allowed to like play make later in the round as kind of like a lurk, right? On like Mirage, he's kind of like Nerds in a way, kind of like not exactly, but he's like similar role, right? Like he might open, but he's not like a hard entry frag. He's not running into the bomb site first. Um, but yeah, I think Tak is good. I think Tak should get better opportunities in tier 2. I don't think he should go to a tier 1 squad, but I think in tier 2, any teams within the tier 2 realm probably could use Tak. I think Tak is a fairly competent star player who has good crosshair placement. I think that's actually one thing I really like about Tak is crosshair placement. I think his crosshair placement is rather good. Um, seems like he knows like what he has good awareness of what's happening on the map, of gaps that are left open and these things. He's not always like necessarily the most mechanically flashy. He has decent mechanics, but I think he's like just a smart player based off what I've seen. But those are the roster rumors that I have, like that I'm aware of, right? I'm not on Twitter. If you don't know, I don't own a Twitter account or don't have a Twitter account. Um, the only reason I have that Kicks in Aurora rumor is because I saw Garmore talking about it. But I even expected, Kixon to get offers from Aurora for a while. Because why wouldn't you try your hand at Kixon? Kixon, if you saw what he did on Heroic, he was really good on Heroic. Heroic at Shanghai, particularly, should have beat G2 arguably. But individuals like Mobs like came up on top in that series. There we go. But yeah, that's all I have for the the roster rumors, right, that are happening, or roster changes that are official. Apparently, they're also looking for a change for Ultimate on Liquid. I didn't mention that during the JT section, but they are looking for a change for Ultimate. In my opinion, 3 changes is enough for Liquid, right? Coach, IGL, JTTC, and then Op. If you can get Try, get them. If 9Z want them, then you're kind of out of luck. Like, you can maybe get Klim. He's young, but it depends, right? I like Klim, but I don't know if he would fit on Liquid. Because I think that whole team is like, you kind of need a bit more of a bubbly personality, I feel like, with that mesh of players. But anyway, that's all I have for the roster rumors. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you guys think.